In this tutorial, we are going to discuss layer templates, which can be modified and updated in a few different locations throughout the ArcGIS Online platform, however, with some nuances. First of all, a layer template defines categories of features that can be added to your hosted feature layers to help you pre-populate certain attributes and specific symbology. If you look over here on the right, you can see that my layer template thus far includes symbology for the trees as well as the labeling for the trees. If I were to open up my templates area within Map Viewer for my PRA fire mitigation layer, you can see that the template is showing as it did over in my legend. If I were to come over here to the formatting, you can see that I can also define, a default diameter of the tree. I can define a default hazard level for this particular featured template. I can also configure some details. And so a layer template isn't just the symbology, but it can be symbology and default attributes, which really helps you streamline your smart forms for your field workers. But there are some nuances. Let's say that I wanted to add another option to my template for my PRA fire mitigation layer. Right now, if I come over to my smart form over in Field Maps Designer, you can see that I have my specific tree types here. And then over in templates, I have the same template that was just showing over in Map Viewer. But now I want to add an other category to my domain choice list. I'm going to come over here to my PRA fire mitigation layer under the data tab. And when I click on tree type for my field, I will then come over here to edit, and I'm going to add a value that says other. One of the things that must happen if you want something to be included in your feature layer templates is it must exist within your unique domain list values if you are creating templates based on those unique values. That's why I first came over here to my domain list and added the other. If I come over and I refresh my smart form in Field Maps Designer and then click over to templates, I don't see it. And that's because even though it exists at the root of my feature layer in my domain values list, I haven't yet added it to my map viewer that is associated with this smart form. So I am going to come over and edit the layer style for the PRA fire mitigation layer. And you can see that this other has now been added as an option, but it's not yet part of my grouping for my template. I'm going to click on other and I'm going to move it up here to this group. And now you can see that it's been added to my grouping. It's been added to my legend as a part of my symbology and my feature layer template. I'm going to click on done and then I'm going to save that. And now when I come back over to my templates, I'm going to refresh this. You'll see that now it says one or more templates are out of sync with the layer style. That's because this Field Maps Designer is reading the template that we have over here in our map viewer. I'm going to go ahead and click on templates in map viewer as well. And you can see that it gives me the same message. And to add that to my template, I can click here to refresh and update. And then I need to save. When you're working with your templates in Map Viewer or Field Maps Designer, you need to save in order for those to be reflected when your smart forms are being used on the user end. But some of the nuances are that if I were to come over here now, and I'm going to edit the layer style, I'm going to come in and I'm just going to change the label of this dead down to dead down dry. I'm just going to put something random in there. I'm going to say done, and then I'm going to save this. And you can see that this label now says dead down dry. Now I'm going to open up my templates again, and you'll see that my template still says dead down. That's because at the very beginning, when I pulled that layer into my map viewer, these were the original values associated with these categories. In order to change it in the template itself, I need to come over to my templates area, click on dead down, and then change it here, dead, down, dry. And again, that is because the template is going to be associated with the layer that you pulled in at the very start of creating your map, or with anything new that you've added, such as when we added the other category. Okay, but now I'm going to show you that if I go to Edit Layer Style, and I want to come in and change the color of my dead down to black. I'm going to go ahead and change it to black, and then I'm going to save. And once I save, I'm going to come over here to templates, and you'll see that the template actually did update the symbology. And so that's something that's important to keep in mind, that some things you need to come in and make sure that you update manually, such as the display name or a label. But if you change the symbology will automatically be updated in your layer template. Now I'm going to go and update the template for dead, down, and dry to also have a default hazard level of high hazard, because most of the time they are, especially when it's related to wildland fires. I'm going to go ahead and say OK to save this. And now when I come to edit, my Create Features template for PRA fire mitigation will show the dead, down, dry with the symbology that we updated. I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to place it on the map. And when I place it on the map, the smart form is going to appear, and you can see that it already has high hazard selected because that was a part of the template that I just updated for that particular feature type.